Welcome back. Today we are diving into a really fascinating explainer on the world of app development. If you've ever thought that building an app requires years of intense coding experience, thousands of dollars, or a fancy Silicon Valley zip code, well, prepare to have those myths completely dismantled. We're going to break down how creating a functional, genuinely useful application is far easier and way more accessible than you might think.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we've all seen that classic dream, right? You drop out of school, build some billion-dollar app in your bedroom, and retire by 25. The tech world just loves to sell us this idea that making a consumer app is a guaranteed one-way ticket to extreme wealth. But before we actually get to the code, let's do a quick reality check on that specific dream.
I mean, check out this staggering fact from our source material. YouTube, literally YouTube, wasn't even a profitable app until around 2014. Think about that for a second. The truth is, most consumer apps nowadays simply aren't profitable unless they're selling business to business. So our primary goal for this explainer isn't to build the next massive, world-dominating tech unicorn. Instead, we're going to focus on something a lot more rewarding, building something genuinely useful just for fun so we can learn exactly how this whole process works from start to finish.
So, here's our roadmap for today. First, the app-making myth. Second, the speed-reading solution we're building. Third, app building basics. Fourth, coding with AI. And finally, deploying for free. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The app-making myth.
The tech industry has this totally fascinating and honestly kind of absurd way of talking about companies that haven't actually created a tangible product yet. Let's look at what we'll call the tech startup hierarchy. To become a massive company, a lot of startups go through these phases of just aggressively spending investor money. When they're bleeding cash, they politely call it pre-profit. If they don't even charge users yet, they're pre-revenue. Still hacking away at the code? That's pre-launch. Just have a shiny PowerPoint presentation? Pre-product. And my personal favorite, if they don't even know what the app actually does, but they are absolutely certain it uses artificial intelligence, well, that's pre-idea. That last tier is where about 99% of startups currently live. So if you sit down and just have a solid, practical idea for an app, congratulations, you're already miles ahead of the pack.
Now, what's really interesting here is we transition into part 2, the speed reading solution. I can almost guarantee that every single one of you listening has this massive digital stack of unread PDFs just sitting on your laptop right now. We bookmark these research papers and long documents, but actually sitting down to read them, it feels incredibly tedious. We really need a way to consume that text rapidly. Enter our solution. The app we're outlining today uses a scientifically backed technique called RSVP, which stands for Rapid Serial Visual Presentation. It's a technique where, instead of your eyes physically moving left to right across a page, the words just flash right in the center of the screen, one at a time. It completely eliminates that mechanical eye movement, which allows you to process words much faster than you could ever physically speak them out loud.
And the results? The fastest an average human reads normally is right around 250 words per minute. But using RSVP, you can push that number up to 350, 400, or even an incredible 500 words per minute. And the most amazing part is that you can do this with literally zero previous training. Your brain just adapts. Now sure, there are free apps out there that do this if you manually paste in a block of text, but almost nothing out there is both free and works natively with PDF files. So we're going to build one. Let's call it Read Faster. Okay, it's not the most creative name in the world, but considering half the most downloaded apps on your phone don't have creative names either, why bother overthinking it?
Part 3. Building basics. Before we just jump into letting AI write all the code for us, which is this wild modern process sometimes jokingly called vibe coding, we really need to understand the fundamental scaffolding of what an app actually is. And this brilliantly illustrates that concept. Think about Tinder versus a game like Flappy Bird. An app always has a user interface or a front end. That's the buttons, the colors, the screens you actually tap on. But an app like Tinder also requires a server-side framework, commonly known as a backend. If 5 people download Tinder, a server somewhere has to securely store their passwords, track their swipes, and sync all that data across different phones. Every single time someone opens the app, it's talking to that server. On the flip side, look at Flappy Bird. There are no accounts, no global leaderboards, just a high score saved locally on your physical phone. That means absolutely no backend server is required. It's purely a front-end app. Our Read Faster app, just like Flappy Bird, it's all front-end.
Shifting into high gear, here is part 4, coding with AI.
Okay, now we're getting to the really fun part. We know exactly what we want to build, and we know we don't need some complicated server to run it. Let's look at how to generate this rapidly without manually typing out thousands of lines of code. Here is our modern tech stack. For generation, We use Google AI Studio to write prompts for an AI model, like Claude, asking it to generate the actual code based on our exact requirements. For the framework, we're looking at Kotlin multi-platform. Guys, this is a total game changer. It's a technology made by JetBrains that lets you write your code exactly once and then deploy it to Android, iOS, desktop, and the web, all from a single codebase. And as for our workspace, we're using IntelliJ IDEA to house our project skeleton. The true beauty of using Kotlin is that even if you were typing it out yourself, it requires about 40% less code to achieve the exact same results as older languages like Java.
So the crucial point to understand is how this multi-platform architecture is actually divided under the hood. It essentially splits into two pieces. On one side, you have the shared logic. For our Read Faster app, this is the brain of the operation. It's what physically reads the PDF file, sequences the text, and calculates the precise mathematical timing for the words per minute. That logic is written once and it runs everywhere seamlessly. On the other side is the user interface, built with Compose multi-platform. This handles the actual visual rendering, the screens, the layout, the buttons, making sure the app looks totally native and runs without a hint of lag, whether you're on an iPhone, an Android device, or just a web browser.
And finally, part 5, deploying for free.
Normally, in some traditional corporate environment, this is the stage where you'd spend weeks rigorously testing the app for bugs across dozens of different devices. But hey, assuming our AI generated a perfectly working preview in our workspace, let's just confidently bypass that exhaustive testing phase and get this thing straight onto the open internet. We want people to actually be able to use this tool. But traditional app stores charge developer fees. And even the free tiers on major cloud platforms like Google Cloud usually force you to hand over your credit card information just to get started. We are completely bypassing all of that friction. The steps are brilliantly simple. Step 1. Sync your generated code directly from Google AI Studio to a free GitHub repository. Step 2. Connect that GitHub repository to an amazing free hosting service called Vercel. Step 3. Click Deploy. That is literally it. Vercel hosts the app on the web instantly, giving you a live, shareable link that absolutely anyone across the world can just type into their browser to access your creation.
But wait, what if your app accidentally goes viral and you decide you do want user accounts later on? What if you suddenly realize you need a backend after all? It's literally as simple as clicking yes to Firebase when you are initially setting up your project. Firebase is a Google-owned service that instantly provides scalable databases, user authentication, and cloud functions without you ever needing to manage complex server infrastructure yourself. But for our current app, it doesn't track anyone, so we don't even need to worry about it right now.
So that leaves us with one final very important question. Are you ready to LARP, live action roleplay, as an actual software developer? The tools are all there, they are completely free, and they are incredibly powerful. I highly encourage you to go build this app yourself. Use it once to crush some unread PDFs and then forget about it. Brag to your friends you don't care about it. Throw it proudly on your resume just so it can get auto-rejected by some company's AI screening system. Whatever you choose to do, the real value here is in demystifying this entire process, taking action, and simply having fun learning how this technology fundamentally works. Thanks for exploring this explainer with me, and I'll see you next time.